Hello and welcome back to the Cozy Club, my friends. My name is Cozy Gamer and it is a beautiful day for some DSA. Now we're going to be going into a new revamped, new and improved character spotlight series. I've seen you guys on comments. I've seen you guys in the Discord. You guys want to see more characters in a spotlight shined upon them. Well, I wanted to kind of revamp and relook at the series and really wanted to make sure that we truly do these characters justice. And so in today's video, you guys are going to see Dr. Facilier in all of his glory. We're going to be going through all of his abilities and not just reading through the text. We're going to look through those abilities and really dive into those abilities and see what it works best with. We're also going to look at the best stones to go with them, basic strategies, some great teams that he synergizes with, stuff you want to know, avoid, and every tip and trick in between. Really wanted to bring up the series again, and if you guys want to see more character spotlights, please like the video and let me know down in the comments below. And for that matter, I ask you guys all the time, let me know what character you guys want to have spotlight next. So Cozy Club, without further ado, let's just get right into this video and right into the character spotlight. We're going to be starting out with a master class of Dr. F. Now, Dr. Facilier, he's been one of my favorite characters since global launch, and for a whole year, he has stayed in somewhat of a safe place to go ahead and invest in and go farm. So what better place to start than Dr. Facilier's base stats? Now, Dr. Facilier, he's a very interesting character because no matter free to play, very beginning of the game, or even at the very end, his core mechanic and his identity stays just about the same. Now, we're going to go look at the basics of Dr. F, but just to quickly highlight his stats here, he does have a speed stone on him, but his recovery is very great for where he's at. Potency's at 25% and the tenacity at 23. Once he is maxed out, some great in-game stats there, and they transition really well from early game all the way to late game. So let's go ahead. Let's take a look at some of the basics to Dr. Facilier. So check out the basics for the doc himself. He's an amazing plug-and-play character altogether. He's really, still to this day, the PvE or just yourself versus anything computer, not player versus player, MVP. He absolutely dominates all aspects of PvE within the game. He's got insane control altogether, and he is the healing god within DSA. Now, he is a safe investment overall. Now, just about a year in total now, he has been someone that you can go for and you're not going to regret. Now, we just got a big update that kind of nerfed shadowing him to really get him to heal even more for your team, but for the most part, that was overkill anyway, and so we're going to go ahead. That was one thing that just happened, but these are the basics of Dr. Facilier. So to get to know the guy a little bit better, let me go ahead and introduce you to his abilities. That's what we're going to start out with in this video. So taking a quick look at his abilities here, you guys can see he's got some great, unique, probably I would say one of the most unique set of abilities out of this entire game. You've got Turret Toss, you've got two specials, and a passive followed by a leadership. Now, we're going to jump into all these abilities one by one. His leadership, let me tell you, don't even look at it. Don't even invest in it. It's got very little viability, maybe a little in the raid, but outside of that, you're not going to use his leadership ability. Now, one thing I love about Dr. F is, just like I said, all of his abilities make sense. His entire kit flows very well outside of his leadership, which, to be honest, pretty much everybody forgets he even has a leadership ability. But Dr. F is a perfect support no matter what team he's plugged into. We're going to go ahead. Let's go through his abilities and take a look at starting with his Turret Toss, his basic ability. Now, this is definitely one of the most unique basics in the game, and there's some luck involved. But if you get the right luck on your side, this can absolutely decimate the enemy. So throwing up Turret Toss, as you guys can see, it deals about 2,000 damage to the target opponent. And then you've got a 50% coin flip, essentially, to pull one of these cards that you guys see right here. So let's go ahead and jump into what each of these cards do. So you've got your Heart card, which is going to inflict charm for one turn. And that's going to be absolutely clutch on people like Mickey Mouse or Hercules to really shut them down, or Mickey to use his own ability on his own team when you kill them. Altogether, charming someone is never bad, and the fact that you can get this on Peter Pan's Shadow is absolutely massive. And now, obviously, with the new update, you're not going to really want to Peter Pan's Shadow Dr. F as much, but the fact that all of these cards have so much powerful just utility behind them it's awesome that the shadows can inflict that. The wild card, which can inflict offense down, defense down, or slow, probably it's not the worst card out of all. It is actually, it's the worst card outside of the normal attack, but still you're getting a great debuff out on the field. And then lastly, you've got the death card. And yes, I said that correctly, the death card. Let me go ahead and talk about what is the death card. So the death card, we're going to go ahead and pull it up right here. You guys can see at the bottom. The death card is going to deal 6,000 damage within the raid and PvP. But if you're not in the raid and you're not in PvP, this bad boy is just going to one-shot anything in the game. And that is, this is the only character that can do that. It's the only character that can do something like that. And that's just, it's very unique to him and I like it a lot. Now, you're not really, right now, there's not a lot of PvE outside of PvP or the raids. And so you're not going to see this a ton. But I really see this being useful in future game modes, and definitely the reason why he's such a safe investment is he's going to continue to have strong PvE viability, and the death card is a big piece of that. Now, the damage dealt is unavoidable, and 6,000 damage critting up to about 10k is nothing to laugh about. So, gotta love the death card and what it can do overall. Turret Toss is an absolutely amazing basic attack to start off. Now, let's go ahead. We're going to jump to his next ability, and that is going to be his Taunt ability. And taking a look at the Taunt here, you guys can see friends on the other side. He's going to be granting any target teammate on your team Taunt, right? For 2 full turns, including life drain. Now, again, one of the things we'll talk about later that I love about Dr. Facilier is you don't have to upgrade these skills a lot for them to be useful. So he can put Taunt on any character on the board, and also he can cleanse with this ability, which is a great little bonus cherry on top. And altogether, you can force the enemy to attack one of your own teammates, which, why would you want to do this? Well, let's go look, and you guys can see right here at some prime examples. Throwing that Taunt on the eel is absolutely huge in battle to really help you out and make sure that altogether that they are attacking the eels, and you want Pain and Panic to go ahead and trigger Hades. Well, force them to attack the eels, force them to attack Yokai's micro barrier. That's what I love about Dr. F, is he can force the enemy to do things that they don't want to do. Mickey Mouse, for the most part, if you're playing a good player, they don't want to kill Mickey Mouse on the first turn, or even really the last character they want to kill is Mickey, because they're going to get that Disneyland forever. Well, with Dr. F, if they don't have a purge, it's absolutely torture. You can force them to go ahead, put a Taunt on the field, put it on Mickey, and make them kill him. Now, on top of that, Hercules is one of those newer characters that we're seeing that does really well with Taunt on himself. He can mitigate extra damage, and he builds up to heroic even faster. So Dr. F in the team hero to Firo, you gotta love throwing Hercules in there with the Taunt. Definitely something I like as well. And then the last examples is Yokai's micro barriers. You got Bucket of Soldiers, and then people like Baymax or other taunts like Maui that you can throw this on, and once they've used their taunt, they can go ahead and gain another taunt. All right, for his next ability, let's go ahead and take a look at Polymorph. Now, there's a couple characters in the game with Polymorph. You can get it from Clock Tower. Ursula has it as well, but it's one of the strongest abilities in the game because it can completely shut down just about anyone on the field. Now, you don't want to use this on characters with high tenacity as they can resist it somewhat easy, especially someone like Beast. Don't even bother with him. But you can shut down Hercules, Elsa. You can turn them into a frog and make them absolutely useless for pretty much an entire turn. And by the time they come back around, they've wasted that turn. And on top of that, they have some big defense down advantages. As you level it up, their defense reduction is going to continue to fall, and they're really susceptible to some high damage attacks. And so early on, I love going to put the Polymorph on Hercules and then focus firing Herc so that we can go ahead, nuke him down, and then worry about the rest of the team. Polymorph, very strong ability, very easy to explain, and altogether great for control when paired up with the villains especially. But again, this is why he works with so many teams. It doesn't matter who he's with. His abilities don't rely on other characters to do what they need to do. All right, we're going to go ahead and look at his next ability, and that is his passive. Now, guys, later today, you guys are going to see a top 50 game-changing ability video come out. and Dark Redemption is very high up on the list. Dark Redemption might be one of the best, if not the best passive in the game, because healing is not that great within DSA. Healing altogether in the game is kind of lackluster because there's just not enough healers in the game, and I'm still hoping that they kind of look at that and make sure they can make a more vital role for healing. But the Doctor is truly the Doc. He has some great healing potential. They did nerf the whole Peter Pan shadow thing, which again, for the most part was overkill and it didn't really happen too much anyway, but it's still phenomenal, and the healing it can do altogether is insane. And so we're going to go and we're going to look at ability priorities so that you guys can check out what those are. But looking at this, the best friends for this ability are Ursula's, Eels, and Yokai's micro arms. Now, here's the thing. Those microbot arms are insane to pair with Dr. F. At the first turn, he's going to get more healing, 35% more bonus health per downtown villain teammate. So when you pop up 3 of those spires and yokai, he's going to go ahead and get 4,000 healing per tick, whether you kill the enemy or one of your allies die. And that's one of my favorite parts about this ability is no matter what, if your allies die or the enemy dies, you're going to be getting healing for your team, which is super helpful. Now, if the teammate is a downtown villain, the 30% chance to grant continuous healing that does massive amount of healing is something that you don't even know is happening on the field typically, but absolutely clutch to get those bonus continual healing out on the field. Altogether, love this. It can save your characters massively. If you put this on an eel and you go ahead and sacrifice one of Ursula's eels, which you don't need anyway, you can go ahead and heal up your Ursula or whoever took big damage to the AoE attacks. This passive is what makes going through the Towers of Endurance, going through the raid, going through any PvE content super important for those game modes, and Dr. F plays a big role because of the healing he can pump out. Now, the Downtown Villains faction is not anything that oozes sex appeal at the moment. They're not crazy good, but the more Downtown Villains we get, the better this passive is going to get, Cozy Club. So again, safe thing to invest in, and you guys are going to see probably one of the most important abilities to upgrade when looking at Dr. F. All right, so we've looked at his abilities. We don't need to look at his passive. It's a potency increase. Not something that you really need to worry about. You guys can see it increases, 12% potency. Really nothing you need to worry about there. You don't want to use him as a lead unless it's your only option, I don't know, as like a throwaway conquest or raid team. But outside of that, you don't want to use it. So let's go ahead. Let's take a look at his essential abilities. And now this is going to be kind of like ability priority, but these are the essential abilities and what levels you should take them to. So again, one of the best things with Dr. Facilier is he doesn't need a lot of ability upgrades. Some characters need a whole lot, but Dr. F honestly will be just fine with just about no upgrades. You're going to want to get that passive up to level 3. That's really the only, not mandatory, but something that's really going to help him out altogether. But his taunt, mine is still level 2. Haven't even touched it. I don't need to. The harmful effect cleanse is nice, but either go with level 1 or 2 or level 4. Don't bother. If you're not going all the way to level 4, don't even do a half upgrade to level 3. Level 2 to 4 for the Polymorph, you're going to get more defense reduction, but again, you can still turn them into the frog. The core mechanics of the ability still works, so if you want to do it that way, that works as well. And his basic level 4 is definitely something you want to achieve, because that is when you're going to be getting the death card, which we just talked about. The death card, fun mechanic, definitely want to go ahead and unlock that, and you'll use his basic more than you think. But again, if you want to, let's go ahead. I mean, we'll look at what they are all together. The basic here does have some good, good upgrades. Get that to level 4. Level 2 is where I'm at. I don't need the extra shield per downtown villain teammate. You know, it's nice, but something that I don't need and honestly don't want with all the Hades out there. If you look at the transformation, again, you get some nice defense stacks. I did take that up, but not necessary. But getting this 20% healing, that's something I would definitely take a look at altogether. Now, looking at game modes with the Doc himself, you guys can see he's great in the Towers of Endurance. He's getting 4 friggin' check marks. Tower of Endurance, PvP, you've got Club Conquest in the raids. He's great in every single game mode and viable to use as a great option no matter what. Now, looking at his stones that you want to use on the guy, you're definitely going to want to go ahead and rock with a speed stone for the most part. Now, you can make a case, unlike some other characters, you can make a case for the recovery stone. He does get some nice recovery bonuses with that. If you don't have a super fast Facilier or he's not there to control the team like on villains, go ahead, throw a recovery stone. He gets a little bit more healing per death of a teammate, which if that's what you're going for, it can work out pretty nicely. But I like to rock mine with the speed stone, get him going a little bit faster, get that taunt, get that polymorph rolling as soon as possible. So the passives, great stuff there. Let's go ahead. We're going to look at the last thing to check out with the Duck. He's great in game modes. We looked at his ability priority. We looked at his abilities, Cozy Club. Now let's take a look at who he synergizes well with. The Duck is going to synergize great. His best friend, no matter what. Really, there's no other teammate that better synergizes with the Duck than Yokai. Yokai with his microbots, being a downtown villain. Altogether, everything that Yokai has to offer marries perfectly with Dr. F's kit. You gotta love the best friendship that them two share, and Ursula is gonna be a close second. Her leadership is wonderful with Dr. F, but also those eels are gonna count as your allied teammates to give more healing, and they're kind of fodder to heal the rest of your team. Now, some other things and other team synergies that I like with the Doc is Hercules, like we talked about, throwing the taunt on him or on Mickey. Splash Mountain works wonders whenever you are trying to... Really, all of his abilities go great with Splash Mountain. If you take a look, the Polymorph, you can extend to Polymorph. You've got Charm on his basic. You've got great offense down, defense down. You can extend those. Love Splash Mountain Soak with Dr. F. And now with Peter Pan's Shadow recently getting nerfed, probably going to want to go ahead and focus on that as your spell of choice with the Doc. Now, the last thing is, and the last people to focus on is the mythical characters you see down below. Miguel, he's going to go well with because of that leadership, rising those mythicals up from the dead. Kind of nice little hidden synergy there. And then the other two, Pegasus and Pain and Panic. I want to talk about that a little bit. Why would you want to put the Doc with Pegasus and Pain and Panic? Well, I've been focusing on these teams that trigger the same thing when something occurs. And so whenever a death happens, you are going to have multiple things trigger. If you kill one of the enemies, you're gonna have Dr. F heal all of his allies. Pegasus is gonna come heal whoever did the killing and reduce magic on that character. Or Pain and Panic, as we talked about, is gonna trigger Hades. So you've got a lot of different things kind of synergizing together. But like we talked about, Dr. F is going to work great with just about any characters within the game and is just one of the most safe investments that you can go for. So altogether, Dr. F gets a firm Cozy certified rating, and definitely someone that if you haven't gotten, he's not a luxury character. You should go ahead and start farming him. He's pretty easy to go ahead and knock down. He's in Grand Campaign. You can get him in a lot of different areas of the game. And altogether, he's one of my favorites to mess with and on my main PvP team with my Ursula with the villain. So, my friends, hopefully you enjoyed this new character spotlight where we really broke down the characters, what they do well, the synergy, and I answered all of y'all's questions. Again, let me know down in the comments below what character spotlight do you want to see next, and let me know if I missed anything or if you want to know a little more information in the future. Again, if you guys liked this new character spotlight, like the video, subscribe if you haven't. And until next time, stay cozy.